Dear students, today I'll discuss with you one Holocaust. It was perhaps the first Holocaust of the 20th century. Not India, rather the entire world criticized that Holocaust. It took place today, that is 20th of February 1921, and it had completed full 100 years. It remained in operation from 20th February to 23rd February 1921. That Holocaust is known as the NANKANA SAHIB Holocaust. In Punjabi, it is called Saka Nankana Sahib. The first Sikh temple was perhaps at Kartarpur Sahib, where Guru Nanak Dev Ji settled in his last years. It was then known as the Dharamsal, where the disciples gathered to listen to his discourses and sing the hymns. Very soon it became a community center where, apart from the religious ceremonies of birth and marriages take place, free kitchen or langar system began. In this way, at various places, the gurdwaras have come up. During the religious or festivals, langar was to be served for more than 50,000 people at that time. To meet these expenses, the misildars, and Maharaja Ranjit Singh gave large estates to these shrines. Jagirs were attached to the Golden Temple, Amritsar, Panja Sahib, and Nankana Sahib. There were no rules for the management of the Gurdwaras, and there was no qualification for the caretakers also. When the British captured Punjab in 1849, new rules and settlements records were created. The land and the property of the Gurdwara was attached to the Mahants. The Udasi Mahants were the Hindus as well as the Sikhs, and they installed the images of Hindu gods and goddesses. In the Gurdwaras, these Mahants were corrupt, and they used to keep mistresses and concubines. And from them, they had offshoots who enjoy the property of the Gurdwara. So the protests were made at the Nankana Sahib. I've already told you it was the birthplace of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, which was earlier known as Raipoi di Talwandi. It was on 14th or 15th of April 1469. Guru Nanak Dev Ji was born. And after his birth, later on it came to be known as Nankana Sahib. The first big agitation by the SGPC to take back the control of the Gurdwaras from the Mahants, backed by the British. The centenary of Shri Nankana Sahib massacre, which is popularly known as Saka Nankana Sahib, is marked today, that is 20th of February 1921. The SGPC came into existence in November 1920. A month after, Sikhs removed partial restrictions on Dalit rights inside the Golden Temple in Amritsar. It started Gurdwara reform movement, which was aimed at taking possession of historical Sikh Gurdwaras, which had turned personal property of the priests who were called the Mahants. These Mahants were also accused of running practices from Gurdwara which were not approved in the Sikhism. Mahant Narayan Das was in control of the Gurdwara Nankana Sahib. Newly formed SGPC asked him to improve the administration of the Gurdwara in October 1920. The Mahant took it a challenge to his authority and started equipping himself with arms and fortified the Gurdwara. SGPC leader Lakshman Singh Tarowalia was attacked by the Mahant's men inside the Gurdwara. It was on the birth anniversary of Guru Nanak Dev Ji in the presence of the British officials. But no action was taken against the Mahant. Sikh leaders made attempts to bring Mahant to the negotiation table, but their efforts failed. All the Mahants and the other groups who were in control of the Sikh Gurdwaras also organized themselves and started holding meetings against the move of the SGPC to take control away from them. They called Sikh Sanatan Conference in Lahore on February 1920 and 1921. Some motivated Sikh leader took it as an opportunity to take control of the Gurdwara Nankana Sahib, as Mahant Narayan Das would be busy in Lahore. Master Tara Singh and other Sikh leaders tried to stop the Sikh Jathas on the way to Nankana Sahib, but failed to convince the leaders leading the Jatha. Mahant Narayan Das also came to know about the Jatha coming to Gurdwara Nankana Sahib, as he was all set to leave for Lahore by train and return back. The unarmed Sikh Jatha entered inside the Gurdwara and with a plan to take possession of the Gurdwara in a non-violent manner. On the other side, the Mahant was all prepared for an armed attack, and he asked his men, equipped with firearms, sticks and sharp weapons, and asked them to attack on the Jathas. As the Jatha entered the Gurdwara, all the gates were closed. Around 66 were killed in the main hall. 25 bodies were found in a single room. Many got bullet shots. Some injured Sikhs were even burnt alive in boiling water during the attack. Others were chased down to a railway track nearby and killed there. Total number of casualties was somewhere between 150 to 200. After the incident, Mahant Narayan Das ran away, while the British police arrested 26 Pathans and sent them to Lahore in a special train. The incident, however, created an impression among the Sikhs that the British government had played a hidden part in the massacre. All the prominent Sikh leaders reached Nankana Sahib on 21st February 1921. Kartar Singh Chapar reached with 2,206. Initially, police and army tried to stop the Jatha, but later Sikhs were allowed to take control of the Gurdwara. So then Punjab governor and his council members also reached Nankana Sahib on February 22 and ordered handing over the control of the Gurdwara to the Sikhs. Mahatma Gandhi reached Nankana Sahib on 3rd March 1921. Gandhi said that the British government was part of this massacre. He also said that cruelty of this massacre was more than that of Jallianwala Bagh. The British government also arrested Mahant Narayan Das. SGPC formed its own probe team and asked Mahatma Gandhi to be the part of it. Gandhi asked Sikh leaders to give support to the non-cooperation movement of the Congress party, which was going on and it was in full swing at that time. The SGPC called a meeting on 6th March 1921 and Professor Mota Singh passed a resolution and decided to support the non-cooperation movement being run by Mahatma Gandhi. Resolution said that Sikhs must give all the support to the non-cooperation movement. However, the move was not welcomed by some of the SGPC leaders. Jathedar Kartar Singh Chabbar, Harbans Singh and Bhai Jodh Singh had opposed this resolution, as they feared that if it will mix a religious movement with the political movement. Resolution was passed with the majority vote. The British government was not amused with the decision of SGPC leadership to be part of political movement. Sikh leaders Kartar Singh Chabbar, Teja Singh Puchar, Tara Singh Thechar, Pai Lakha Singh and others were arrested from Nankana Sahib for allegedly taking illegal control of Gurdwara on 15th March 1921. In May 1921, SGPC asked Sikhs to wear the black clothes and turbans as protest against the British government. At Nankana Sahib, two big utensils were kept, which were used to color the turbans black. Arrested Sikh leaders were released after 5 months. The court found Mahant and his men guilty in just 6 months, and main accused were sentenced to death. Later, death sentence was commuted to the life term. Mahant Narayan Das was released from jail in 1930. Nankana Sahib Gurdwara agitation was just a big attempt in Gurdwara reform movement, followed by the Guru Ka Bagh Morcha, Chaiton Da Morcha, and other agitations. And finally, the Sikh Gurdwara Act came into existence in 1925. The present SGPC, the present mini parliament of the Sikhs, is functioning according to the second Sikh Gurdwara Act 1925. Thank you very much.